video is entitled Karmelo Anthony Flees the State as new video footage disproves the quote fight before the Austin Metcalf information. I haven't watched this. I haven't read the tweet, so you guys are going to get my live raw reaction. I'm gonna protect myself. I'm gonna protect myself from copyright by speeding this up. And here we go.
Update on the Karmelo Anthony case today that literally no mainstream media is covering. There's basically a few local reporters in Texas that are doing the hard work and bringing out all this information. So I do want to shout out the work of Sarah Fields, who is really the only person that I can find that is bothering to report on this case anymore. There are now reports that Karmelo Anthony has fled the state of Texas and that the judge has approved it so that he might get a more favorable trial. And there are all sorts.
There you go. So that he may get a more favorable trial. This is the strategy of Dominique Alexander and the Anthony family. They do not want this tried in Collin County, which is predominantly white. They want this tried in Dallas County, which is probably predominantly white, but maybe not quite as white as Collin County / Frisco, Texas. This is exactly why Jason Whitlock was very, very staunchly against Jake Lang's protest down in Frisco, Texas shortly after the murder. And I agree with Jason Whitlock. Jake Lang going down there could have sparked a racial incident that could have and would have caused the townspeople to say, well, wait a minute, there's racial unrest here. There's racial unrest here. Karmelo Anthony cannot get a fair trial in Collin County, as Robert Anderson says, yeah, Dallas County is very much left-leaning. Wheelrain89 backs him up and says Dallas is heavy liberal. Right. That is absolutely right. Frisco, Texas is conservative. Dallas, Texas is liberal. And I promise you, one of the first things on Dominique Alexander's agenda was to get this case out of Collin County. He probably told Mr. and Mrs. Anthony that, hey, the only way we stand a chance to win this is if we have this tried in Dallas County. And so Dominique Alexander has been looking for whatever way he can to drum up some reason as to why it can't be tried in Collin County. Well, it's the same reason why Johnny Cochran wanted the case tried in LA County rather than Simi County. See, if the OJ trial had been conducted in Simi County, where the actual murder occurred, OJ probably would have been convicted. But because they went to a more left-leaning, a more densely populated African-American population, OJ walked. Dominique Alexander is hoping for the same thing to happen here. He is looking to change venues so that they can have an obviously racially biased jury. Now, I know some people would say, well, Collin County would be looking for the same thing. Hey, he stabbed a white kid. He killed a white kid. Incredible.
Of other very interesting updates in terms of the case, the hundreds of thousands of emails that were sent in and among Frisco ISD from employees being blocked from any kind of Freedom of Information Act. On top of that, it appears that his indictment is imminent. It could be today, could be later this week, but it won't be longer than the end of the month. So we only have.
Yeah, I've heard that an indictment is imminent. I've actually heard that. And I think we've all known that Karmelo Anthony was definitely going to be indicted. There's no way he couldn't have been indicted. And you know, it's funny. Back, you know, when I was going back and forth with ignorant ass niggas talking about, well, he hasn't even been indicted yet. As if the fact that he hasn't been indicted yet somehow proves that he's innocent.
Have so many days left. It's already the 18th. Only so many business days left. So let's take a look at both what Sarah Fields has found and also this new article in the Daily Mail based on the footage that was released. By the way, shout out to everyone who has pre-ordered their Summer Legendary Pack. Frisco ISD emails and the Anthony family may be moving out of state. Several weeks ago, I requested emails between
He's reading the tweet.
staff members that included names such as Karmelo Anthony, Drew Anthony, and the Metcalfs. Yesterday, I received a letter from Frisco ISD, written and sent to the Office of the Attorney General from Frisco ISD.
Damn.
This comes as I've already narrowed down my request 3 times, which brought the response from Frisco ISD down from nearly 100,000 emails. There was 100,000 emails about Karmelo Anthony in the system to just 5,200, and the costs were reduced to just $300. According to Frisco ISD, on June 16th, which was on Monday, the district received correspondence, a compelling interest letter from the Collin County District Attorney's Office saying,
yeah, I know the video isn't up to speed, but I've got the music in the background and I've got the stuff on the screen, so that's more than enough to protect me.
That Collin County District Attorney's Office has compelling interest in the non-disclosure of any records in the district's possession related to requests like mine or any requests conducted or connected to the incident at the school.
I think what has happened is they have seen, that's all right, Doctor Who. I think that they have seen the video. And they saw what we all suspected. Karmelo Anthony's life was not in danger. He wasn't jumped. He wasn't bullied. He was somewhere he was not supposed to be. He caught static from one guy, caught static from another, but was never accosted. Austin Metcalf may have pushed Karmelo Anthony, but clearly that does not rise to the level of stabbing someone through the chest, through their best breastplate, through their sternum, and piercing their heart, thereby ending his life. Okay? That's the way this goes. Niggas all around this country. Well, he shouldn't have put hands on him. I'm sorry, putting hands on somebody doesn't rise to the level of stabbing them to death. The response must be commensurate with the action. This is why Karmelo Anthony is going to be charged. This is why he is about to be indicted for first-degree murder. None of this bullshit Mickey Mouse involuntary manslaughter. No. They've seen the video, and they know Karmelo Anthony is guilty, and they know that if the public sees the video, that will solidify the fact that we know he is guilty. My question is where are you niggas now? Where y'all at now? Y'all got real quiet. As a matter of fact, niggas have been uncharacteristically quiet over the past few days, over the past few weeks. Back when the story broke, oh, it's self-defense. Yeah, the more facts come out, the less we hear these niggas.
This letter states that releasing these records would interfere with the investigation and anticipated litigation relating to the pending case.
Translation, the video proves his guilt.
This means from here on out.
Connor Brown says, where's Cali West? Apparently, Cali West has recanted what he thought. Apparently, I was told by somebody that Cali West now thinks Karmelo Anthony is guilty.
Any request for records,
or at least is acknowledging it,
regarding this incident, the loss of life of Austin Metcalf, will now be denied.
What?
So they have now moved to deny the public its lawful right.
There it is.
On any disclosure in this case. Now,
the reason why they're denying it is because they know that the video proves his guilt. BMAC with the $10 Cash App says they wouldn't give Derek Chauvin the courtesy. No, they would not.
Will we get these emails 5 years after the case has been tried?
Probably.
And Karmelo got off with a wrist slap on the wrist?
Probably.
Maybe never. There are so many questions around this case that it's difficult for me to really believe that we're ever going to get, what the information that the public needs. Now, is there information that's inside these emails between teachers and principals and other people in Frisco ISD about Karmelo? Sure. There could be information about a past of fighting, which some people have alleged, including an eyewitness. It could have information about some sort of beef or an altercation that had happened previously between Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony, which could go to
premeditation. Yeah, there is no beef. Sorry.
premeditation.
You can't have beef with a student who does not go to your school. We had a black kid and a white kid who live in different neighborhoods and went to different schools. There was no beef. Nice try.
Could have absolutely nothing of value at all.
There you go.
Could be a bunch of overweight leftoid teachers sending hashtag free Karmelo back and forth. It could have nothing.
Hashtag sounds like he's from Minnesota.
In it. But the fact that they have said, not only are we not going to release, this massive trove you asked for, but we're not even going to release this hyper-specific one. I think that speaks to a very real possibility that we will never see what was in these emails. This also means
I don't give a shit about the emails. I care about the video.
That an indictment is coming very soon. Now, he's been charged, but the indictment is different. So, obviously, he should be charged with the taking of a life in the first degree, which carries a sentence of 25 years to life. He won't get life because he's under 18 or something like that, but it's a much bigger sentence. What most people, like myself, think he's going to get charged with is going to be a much lesser charge. Maybe manslaughter or something like that.
Oh, boy. Dude, if he is charged with manslaughter, dude, people are going to lose it.
Going to get a much lesser charge, in my opinion, because every step along the way, he's gotten the least punishing, the least aggressive part of it. Remember, the black female judge reduced his bond for no reason because they had plenty of money to bond him out. In fact, they didn't even pay for his bond, according to
George S. with the $2 Cash App says, shout out Wisconsin. Appreciate that.
The reports. Remember when his high school let him graduate, even though, according to the high school's own rules and charter, he should have been expelled. Again, he's sitting at home playing NCAA 2K while Austin Metcalf is in the ground.
Right.
And his father, has to mourn him. I think that every step along the way, this kid has gotten a break. So why would I expect it to be any different now? On top of that, furthermore, many have asked about the possibility that the Anthony family has moved from Texas to Louisiana.
Oh, boy.
When Drew Anthony, Karmelo's father, posted about his family's move on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
I immediately screenshotted his post from my records and asked the opinion of a good attorney friend. They stated that it is a bold decision to allow them to move out of state during a trial, but it is possible. Either Drew Anthony is lying about moving, or they received a judge's approval, which would be yet another break for this kid and his family. Either Drew Anthony is lying, or they received a judge's approval. However, according to the public docket, there is no approval for any relocation. I've sent an inquiry to Collin County asking for any minute orders or approvals for relocation or travel for the Anthony family. As soon as I have a response, I will release it. And as soon as she releases it, I will cover it on this channel. So make sure you subscribe or follow down below, of course. It's very strange that a man who consistently messages and harasses me on a daily basis accuses me of trying to get his family taken out, when, with my reporting, would post about his family's move on a public platform. People who are afraid for their lives do not do this.
No, they don't.
So here's a letter from Frisco ISD. I'm requesting the emails, their denial. Now, here's Drew Anthony's post. A picture of Louisiana.
Oh, boy.
And saying, wish y'all nothing but the best. Nothing like the boot. Facts.
Guys, I don't understand why Karmelo Anthony has been allowed to leave the state of Texas. Like, he's supposed to be under house arrest. Why did he get permission to go to Louisiana?
Welcome back, nephew. So this is maybe they moved there, maybe they're on vacation. It would obviously be wildly inappropriate to approve an out-of-state vacation while your murderous son is on house arrest, but it would be part...
Oh, George C. with the $5 Cash App. He says, I was letting you know where Jeremy is from. Okay, appreciate that.
And parcel it would be well within every other break that this family's been given.
Jesus, man.
You come into the reunion, you should come. Inbox me. People are saying come back. They can set all the threats they want. They bet not touch them.
Or what?
We will go out to Frisco, and they will need the National Guard out there next.
Oh, Jarvis. Oh, Jarvis, my guy. Oh, boy. Oh, Jarvis. See, this right here, y'all. This right here, y'all, lets me know that niggas, this is what lets me know that niggas forget that they are the minority. They send all the threats they want. They bet not touch them. They're not going to touch you, you idiot. They're going to shoot you. These white folks are not trying to go toe-to-toe with y'all. These white folks are in their tactical gear, out in the woods, dead-eye snipers. That's what they're going to do. Talking about we will go out to Frisco and we'll need the National Guard out there next. No, they won't. They will not need the National Guard. Bro, you are going to Texas, my guy. You are going to Texas. You ain't in Louisiana, bruh. Texas is a little different. They don't fight with these in Texas. They fight with these. To some degree. This is what they fight with, y'all. They ain't about MMA. They're not submit. No, bruh. No. Nah. Talking about you gonna go out to Frisco, Texas, and what you gonna do? What you finna do? I swear to God, niggas do not understand that they are the minority. Real Rain, 89 with a $10 super chat says, this is actually smart by the prosecutors. Allow all of this pretrial nonsense so if they appeal, they won't have much wiggle room. That's actually a very good point. Actually.
So they are issuing threats. You moved, bro? That's so Eric. Why should this be public? Just asking for myself. You must know not how many people are after them.
Yeah, I would definitely not have posted this if I were Drew Anthony.
So you're going to send the same concerns to the others who just commented? I mean, these are all comments. Back home. Welcome back to the boot, cousin. Glad y'all got out of there.
Look at that.
And then Drew Anthony responded, facts. So
protect that baby. Look at this. Protect that baby at all cost. Protect him from what? Number one. Number two, Karmelo Anthony is not a baby. Karmelo Anthony is a grown-ass man. Yeah, but he's 17. Yeah, he's going to be tried in as adult. That's the first thing. The second thing, Karmelo Anthony became a man when he plunged that knife into Austin Metcalf's chest. Okay? All of this infantilization by the nigga community is so obviously and laughably transparent, it's ridiculous. Protect that baby at all costs. I'm sorry, Indy got fortitude. Karmelo Anthony ain't no baby. This is a grown-ass man who committed a grown-ass man crime.
This is very, very odd.
No, this isn't odd at all. This isn't odd at all. And this is funny. This guy's a white guy. I don't know who this guy is. This guy has a big channel. I think he's got like 1 million or something subscribers. Yeah, the quartering. Yeah, he's a big. Oh, wait a minute. He's a big time YouTuber. Oh yeah, those are all my facial expressions, guys. He's a big time YouTuber. He's got like almost 2 million subscribers. But the reason why he is so confused by this is that he's not privy to nigga culture. American black people, niggas, the so-called black community, it is the only community in the world that regularly justifies and glorifies criminal behavior. Yes, there are criminals in every race, every creed, blah, 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 blah. But the American black community, the American African-American community, is the only community that regularly endorses, justifies, and glorifies criminal behavior, especially when it's committed against non-black people. But this guy doesn't know that. That's why he is genuinely confused. A lot of people, it's interesting. This Karmelo Anthony situation, Austin Metcalf situation, this is giving people sort of a front row view to what niggas are really like. They really, 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 like they really are. This guy is getting an education. He's like, wait a minute, why is this so confusing? Yeah. Welcome to the nigga community, bruh.
Very, very odd.
Yeah.
Why would they be given permission to relocate. More comments under the post. Wish y'all nothing but the best. We saw that. The reunion, we saw that. Welcome back to the boot, we saw that.
This is incredible.
Hi, interesting. Did Frisco ISD provide the CCDAO compelling interest letter? Can we see it? Are you appealing this common interest by government attorneys coordinated by suppression of public information? Curious how often these compelling interest letters impact PRRs. They did not. I'm asking for it. You know, someone on house arrest doesn't leave the state, especially with no judicial order. My understanding is that GJ will convene by the grand jury, will convene by the end of June, which when he is indicted, he'll be locked up. Hopefully the judge assigned to the case will order a more appropriate bond when he is. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
That is absolutely crazy. I cannot believe this kid killed someone. This kid killed someone. There were multiple witnesses and there were videos, but somehow this dude is allowed to move around the country.
And then we have this article here, you know, the Mail Online. I watched the footage of the race crime that split America. What I saw shocked me and how it could flip the case. Now, we all know basically what they saw on this camera, on this footage was basically grainy and kind of an ultra zoomed out version of it. Now, they say initially Frisco police said the altercation between the teens that led to the encounter. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the incident.
There it is. Let me repeat this. It says initially Frisco police said an altercation between the teens led to the violent encounter. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to stabbing. This means that Karmelo Anthony is guilty of first-degree murder. That's what this is. David says modern-day black privilege. Absolutely. King Charles says Donovan forgot he black again, y'all. Uh-oh. Yes, sir. We got the Nigadar up. Get the Periscope. Get the Periscope. Queen Charles is back. Queen Charles is back. And see what Queen Charles tends to what Queen Charles is doing here, guys. This is that racial tribalism. I have forgotten that I'm black because I'm holding a black man accountable for committing a crime. What am I supposed to do? Rejoice that he was able to move? No, I'm not going to do that. But Queen Charles is a nigga. That's why, this is exactly why he endorses this kind of stuff. And niggas like you, Queen Charles, will be wiped off of the face of the earth for participating in this particular activity. And oh, by the way, Queen Charles, you should probably check that. Let's continue.
Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue. Strict guidelines were enforced for viewing. Reporters were only permitted to take handwritten notes and were barred from capturing or republishing stills or clips.
Wow.
So the Daily Mail has said they watched the footage and that there was absolutely no confrontation before the incident. That could blow this case wide open. That could mean it was premeditated.
There you go.
That could mean...
Listen. The minute he brought a knife to school, that told me that it could possibly be premeditated. I don't think he meant to stab Austin Metcalf. I think he was there looking for smoke from anybody who is white.
In that they're just spinning this. It's difficult to know, but what I do know is that you need to make sure you follow or subscribe to this channel, because as new information comes out, as the grand jury convenes, I will be reporting to you as soon as possible. Don't forget to pre-order your summer legendary.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah. I think this lets us know this lets us know a couple of things. Number one,
from Coffee Brand.
Karmelo Anthony is absolutely guilty of first-degree murder. Okay. You think this is the only person that saw this footage? And this article was posted yesterday. Right? And let me move it up here because I'm actually gonna read this. Because I was not about to pay any money. It says, it was just after 10 a.m. on April 2nd, Rolo's birthday, during what should have been a typical high school track meet at David Kirkendall Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Students were warming up and stretching patiently, waiting for the competition to resume after a pause due to heavy rain. A pause, not paused. Spectators and some students took cover under a tent in the bleachers of Memorial High School. The atmosphere was calm and uneventful until it turned to bloodshed. In a matter of seconds, then 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony fatally stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, turning a rain delay into a crime scene. On Monday, the Daily Mail became one of only 2 news organizations granted access to surveillance footage of the deadly incident, a killing that shocked the nation and ignited debates about race, privilege, and the criminal justice system. The 40-minute surveillance video. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can read the rest of it here. The 40-minute surveillance video recorded from a stationary camera on the opposite side of the football field captures the 10 minutes leading up to the attack and the desperate efforts by Metcalf's twin brother and others to save his life before paramedics arrived. Jesus Christ. Metcalf, a student at Memorial High School, was stabbed after confronting Anthony, who attended Centennial High School, about sitting under the tent of a team he was not affiliated with, according to police statements made by Metcalf's father after the killing. Anthony has admitted to the stabbing, but maintains he acted in self-defense, claiming, quote, "the truth will come out."
Stop the cap.
Wishful thinking. Initially, the article continues, Frisco police said an altercation between the teams led to the violent encounter. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to stabbing. The Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue. There it is. There it is. Let me read that again. The footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District's headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to stabbing. Where you at now, Queen Charles? Where you at now? Where you at, Queen? Where you at?
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Huh? What's up?
I call Brother Myron the Sambo from Sudan.
And you know what this is? The usual fucking suspects. Case in EBK with another, we got another nigga in the chat. Says, all this tap dancing is not good for your health. Actually, it's very good for my health. I rode my bike 20 miles today. Did you? I rode my bicycle 20 miles today. Rode it 20 miles yesterday and 20 miles the day before, so my health is doing just fine. And I'm actually told that tap dancing and any kind of dancing is actually good for your health. Nice try, nigga. Nice try. But let me ask you something, Case and EBK and Queen Charles. What are your thoughts on what's on the screen? What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm keeping it completely real. If the two of you just say, you know what, I really don't care if Karmelo Anthony is guilty or not. I don't care if Karmelo Anthony is guilty or not. I want him to be acquitted. At that point, at least I can say, okay, I disagree with you, but at least you're being honest. At least you're being honest. Okay? If you're listen, I will give you respect if you're just honest, even if I disagree. If you are honest, if you really do believe that, I can disagree all I want to. If you're being honest, if you're going to stand like a man and say, hey, look, Donovan, this is what I think, this is what I feel. Hey, man, who am I to tell you how to feel? Who am I to tell you how to feel? What I don't respect are people arguing in bad faith, pretending to think that Karmelo Anthony is innocent based only on his color because you actually think it's self-defense. Case and EBK says, this is a biased source. Do you have any idea who the Daily Mail is? The Daily Mail is probably one of the most left-leaning websites on the internet. See, this is what niggas don't do. Chris Rock said it best. Niggas don't read. Case and EBK, you clearly don't read. You clearly don't read. You're a nigga, so that doesn't surprise me. So, Kaysen, I suggest you maybe go to the Daily Mail and maybe, I don't know, read every once in a while, and maybe you would know that the Daily Mail is biased. Biased to the left, not the right. Nice try, though, nigga. Shout out to Edward Cross with the $20 Cash App says, for the hate, we tell the truth anyway. You're goddamn right we do. You're goddamn right we do. So what's on your screen, and I want to make very, very clear, it says the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District's headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior for stabbing. Kaysen EBK says, you have nothing positive to say about niggas. No, I don't. Because there is nothing positive about niggas. What am I supposed to... What? No, of course not. No, I will never say anything positive about niggas. Niggas, you guys are the scourge of the earth. You people make my life harder than it has to be. You people make my life harder than it has to be. Niggas make black men's lives harder than it has to be. And you know, the interesting thing is niggas actually like it that way. You guys remember when Jerome was like, yeah, they see you as a nigga too. Did you hear the glee in his voice? He likes the fact that people see me as a nigga, and he likes the fact that niggas are the cause of it. He likes the fact that niggas are the cause of it. But again, Kaysen EBK, if you would just admit, hey, I want Karmelo Anthony to walk regardless of his guilt or innocence, I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone. Because at that point, at least you're being honest. And if that's the way you really feel, I can't argue with that. What I can argue with, what I can, C-A-N, argue with, is you pretending like you actually think Karmelo acted in self-defense, and that's why you think he should be acquitted. If you think he should be, if you're telling me you want him to be acquitted because a black dude killed a white dude, just say that. This is America. I mean, dude, just because what you say is unpopular doesn't mean you don't have the right to say it. The First Amendment, like, dude, your right to free speech is protected under the First Amendment. At least be honest. At least be honest. Anyway, I think what this shows, guys, is it's about to be over for Karmelo Anthony. Now, I will say this. There is a world. There is absolutely a world in which Karmelo Anthony is acquitted. Whether or not the case is tried in Dallas County or Collin County, there is a world where Karmelo Anthony gets off. Karmelo Anthony could get off for reasons that have nothing to do with his guilt or innocence. He could absolutely get off. I hope he doesn't. Because, I mean, listen, you do the crime, you got to do the time. Right? But Karmelo Anthony is cooked. The reason why they don't want this video to get out is because it's obvious, like it said, that there was no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to stabbing. The Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue. So there was no fight. There was no bullying. Nobody got jumped. Like niggas came out and said, Karmelo is cooked with a capital C. I think, listen, there are some niggas in this world that could at least gain back a modicum of respect if they would just believe, if they would just be honest about the way they feel. That's it. That's it. GM European says, no black woman is rocking with this message. Good. Good. I'm glad that no black woman is rocking with this message. I'm glad. And if by this message you mean hold people accountable for their criminal behavior, then yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me because nigga women, they justify this stuff too. Protect this baby at all costs. That nigga's a grown ass man. And when he goes to prison, he will be in prison with grown ass men. He's not going to prison with babies, baby girl. He is not going to prison with baby. And I'm going to tell you something else too, man. The judge is fucking this up because obviously he wouldn't have been able to leave Texas if he didn't get permission from a judge. So what the judge is doing is actually contaminating jury pools in both Dallas and Collin County. Because people in Dallas are probably thinking, why in the world would she give them permission to leave the state? This guy stabbed someone to death, multiple eyewitnesses. There's a video of it, yet he's able to leave the state. Karmelo Anthony is cooked. He is absolutely cooked. And guys, I cannot wait. I cannot wait when we hear that guilty verdict read. I can't wait. If he is found not guilty, God help us. If this dude is found not guilty, God help us. Incredible. Incredible.